Hello and welcome back to the 2025 DeKalb Wrestling Invite. Once again, we are glad for you to be joining us and hope that all you viewing the past stream are here joining us for this one. Once again, I'm Wyatt Nepper, joined
And,
by,
and I'm Elijah Nepper.
yes, the Nepper brothers. We're going to get our own our own Fox Prime time. We're gonna go pro with this.
Yep.
But facing off in this second round of the DeKalb invite, it is going to be Carroll versus Bishop Lures on mat 1, which we will not be covering, as on mat 2, John Glenn is facing DeKalb. And at the moment, Lapel is out. They have the bye. DeKalb just faced Lapel 54 to 9. They won, and Carroll just beat John Glenn 58 to 24. So here we have the Barons facing off, and this time we have a shot of the scoreboard. So we will be able to follow along.
Barron started out really aggressive earlier today, so let's see if they can keep that momentum up and stay aggressive coming in. Got to watch that elbow height there. If you keep your elbow up like that, it's a lot easier for the person to sneak in under your elbow or pop it up to go in for the shot. Good job on DeKalb's part there. Went right past the defenses. That setup's the most important part of the process going in for a shot. So it was very, very good and very clean on their part.
Yep, and as we're further away, it's going to be a little bit harder for us to determine who's going at it right now. But I think that that's Noah
Ooh,
Spears. I don't think he wrestled this past round.
beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I believe he had a forfeit last round. He had an absolutely gorgeous stack there. Really sunk that in really deep, really clean, and really quick. That was excellent job on his part. Great start for the Barons with a pin right out the bat.
Yep, and in comes Blaker.
Got to be really careful with when you go in with a hug like that at the very beginning. Not something that's really recommended a lot of the time because when you're too close, you can't really work the hands, and it's harder to work your openings. Getting your over under like what Blaker's almost going for can be pretty good against some opponents, especially if they're not used to having that elbow, that shoulder control. Uh, but again, it puts almost a block in front of you because you've got their whole body sandwiched up in front of you. Now he's working that arm pass. Very good to see a variety of setups by Blaker now. I know he used to struggle a lot just with getting those setups going to clear his shot. So it's good to see him working a variety there. Good job on the snap down. Good job getting behind. If he can lock that up and bring him back to the mat, be a gorgeous start for Blaker. Oh, went down to the leg. Got a collapsed leg. If he can get around the hips there. There we go. Takedown for Blaker. Good follow.
Still working him around the mat. Lakers on top, and he is up 3-0. They've got 30 seconds left in this period. It's periods, right?
Yeah. In this period. Uh, keep him down. Don't give up the point. 10 seconds to go.
So with so
Oh,
little time left, is this just a point where you're trying not to let the other team score?
pretty much. Especially in a position like this, you got to be on top of your game because if you can go into the next, if you can go into the next period without giving up any more additional points than you need to, and then work fresh from the next period, then uh, it can be hugely beneficial for the rest of the match. Looks like John Glenn went down. Good starting pressure. He's still got to get off those knees. Biggest issue I've seen today from the Barons is just getting off those knees to get that additional drive. Went out of bounds. Matches like this one are ones like what we were talking about earlier, where it's almost easier to let him up and get more points from takedowns. Might be more beneficial for Blaker here because it's looking like he's struggling to get a good pinning combination in on the John Glenn wrestler here.
Yeah, and you said a tech fall is up by 15 points. Is that a 15? One team gets to 15 points, or is 15 points ahead of the other person?
15 points ahead of the other person. So, I mean, Blaker is green here. So DeKalb is green here. John Glenn is the red on the scoreboard. And oh, way to get out of that pinning combination. Looks like John Glenn got the back points there. 4 back points. That brings John Glenn up. I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? I completely blocked on that, seeing the pin almost get locked in there.
Just asking about the tech fall and whether it's 15 points ahead or 15 points in all.
15 points ahead. So with Blaker at 3 right now, looks like he's locking up that, getting some back points in the reversal. 15 points ahead. So with Blaker at 5 now, if our John Glenn wrestler got to 20 points, then it would be tech fall. Looks like Blaker locked it up real good for a good finish there. A lot of back and forth with that match. You got to be careful of those sticky situations and keep control at all times, especially with how you're pressuring in.
Yeah, and you were talking about that earlier in the last matchup against Lapel and how dynamic some of these people had to be, especially the lighter weights, since their movement, they're able to move so well and slip out of those situations and how adaptable they need to be.
Mm-hmm. It's very, and I mean, once we get, looks like we got heavyweights up now, so up to 285 weight, 285 pounds. Because of them being so much larger, I mean, their movement is so much more, it's going to be a lot more methodical, and it's going to be a lot more things where you're not getting under the other person to take shots, but you're going to be working a lot more slide bys and a lot more snap downs. So, I mean, like you see from the John Glenn wrestler here, you're trying to drag the other person down and around and work your angles. That way you're not getting any more weight on yourself than need be. Especially for these bigger wrestlers, it's exhausting being out there and having another person at that weight on top of you. And so it's an extreme level of conditioning that you got to get to really compete at that weight. And especially when you get to state level wrestlers, it's a crazy matchup because they'll be some of the fittest people ever, and they'll be very tall, very muscular. Almost got the roll out there on DeKalb. Heavyweights are some of the most dangerous ones where you can get a roll. A roll can go a long way. I remember it might have been my junior year, wrestler who was forecasted to win state. He was wrestling in semi-state, and he was a heavyweight, and I believe he wrestled for Angola. It was Vilfuerte, I believe. Another forfeit for DeKalb there. But he was wrestling another individual who was not even ranked in state. And the other wrestler just rolled through with him, took the momentum, and ended up pinning the wrestler. He ended up pinning Villafuerte, which was a career ender for him because it was his senior year. But it's just it's a dangerous game when you got a lot of momentum rolling on the mat for heavyweights.
have him right here, a chain of forfeits against DeKalb. John Glenn just not able to reduce those weight classes. It's putting the Barons ahead by a lot in score, 6-30.
It's like one more forfeit for DeKalb.
Yep, Hunter Elkins there going through.
It's a lot harder to fill those lighter weight classes, and it's a breaker for most teams in team score uh, when they don't have wrestlers to fill those lighter weight classes.
Here we go, the next weight up. Gage here, a sophomore for the Barons.
Ooh, that roll through is a dangerous thing, very dangerous game. If that John Glenn wrestler had settled enough, they could have caught our DeKalb wrestler dead in his tracks on his back. You got to be really careful when you go across your own back like that. Oh, deep shot. Good shot from DeKalb there.
So a time when they're rolling over their back like that, is it similar to other sports, just when you're, the best time to use it is just when you're desperate, not to take it as a chance for the usual shots. It's just you're down, you don't have much time.
Definitely. At least for me, I never, unless I was in a very desperate situation, I never like to roll across my back unless it was a really good setup into the maneuver. Um, and so, and especially like you see the tilts that he's working right now, he's kind of blocked by the referee. But those tilts there can be very dangerous because defensive pins where our DeKalb wrestler maybe across his back, referees, if they call the pin quickly, a lot of good wrestlers can get stuck in those positions just because the other person settles their weight in a particular way. And so you got to be very, very careful because defensive pins are a very dangerous thing, and it's a very dangerous game to play. You can get a lot of good back points if you know how to play the positioning well, but it's always a gamble, and it's always a risk that you got to calculate the weight of and whether or not you can actually get the points out of it. It's looking like there might be another tech fall coming to Cal's way.
There, it's 14-0, and it's going into the next period. So only one more point, and they'll get that tech fall, like you're saying.
Yep, going down. So any point that he scores here will send him into tech fall. DeKalb's really setting themselves up here for getting their points quickly and end the match.
Yeah, because all he needs to do right here is just escape, which is easier said than done.
Yeah.
But
Back to the mat. Escape and tech fall. Or did they call it out of the mat? There we go. I like what I'm seeing from DeKalb's team in general. That aggression is still there, and a lot of maneuvering is still happening. And it's a very good thing to see that they're carrying that through to the rest of the day. It's like they're trying to work those collar ties. A lot of good wrestlers can get stuck in those collar tie positions and then ends up no action actually happens. You got to be really careful of that because if you sit in those positions for too long, some refs will call, there we go, work that setup really well. Clearing those arms. Go ahead.
so in a position like that where they're both in the collar tie, Are is that going to get called for stalling, or what's going to happen in that position?
Depends on how it's happening. Um, some wrestlers they end up using that as a position of rest in a way. Especially, it's really evident when their legs are straight, they're bending at the hips, and they're basically just hanging on the other person. It's a lot more evident in later periods of a match. Um, but looks like DeKalb's tying up that pin there. Very good combination for them. Uh, kind of loose there, but if they can settle their hips right, they can take it. Looks like he's going back around for the half. Um, but yeah, you got to be careful because if you're just hanging on the other person, depending on the ref, they might call stalling really, really fast, and so you got to make sure you're not giving up points where you don't want to. Um, And so collar tie positioning, it can work really well if you're actually using the position and you're trying to work around the arms and pop those up. But if you're not working around the position and you're just hanging there, stalling can get called and you can start losing points like there's no tomorrow. Very good finish there on the pin. Lots of pins for DeKalb today. It's very good to see that they're getting a lot of good pins here. Most of them are high quality pins as well. And so
Yep, and overall, this matchup seems to be going pretty quick compared to Lapel. Um, so we're gonna see how long this meet actually takes.
things are moving really quick today. I'm not sure where exactly Lure. It looks like Lures and Carroll are taking a bit longer with their matchups. They probably didn't have a string of forfeits like DeKalb and John Glenn did as well. Um, Carroll's a very full team, and so
Yep, and in that way, Lures is also fresh, so they're able to put up a pretty good fight uh, as compared to having a round underneath their belts.
Glenn are going again. Let's see how it ends up. Very good clearance on the shot there. Got really deep on it. If he can bring it up, yep, good follow through. Got to be careful on how far up on the body he goes there. When the other ooh, he's got the leg caught. That was an interesting move on the John Glenn person. It shows a lot of awareness of how the body moves when limited in certain ways, and so that was an interesting maneuver to see him hooking with the leg there. Not a lot of wrestlers will think on their feet like that and know how to position themselves to keep the other person from moving into them. That was a very impressive stop there. Um, good pressure from DeKalb here. Still on the knees, but it looks like they're still keeping him down. He's got to work his pinning combinations a little bit more. Oh, he's thinking the half. Getting off to the side. A lot of wrestlers here today they start to get that half, but then they lose it. And it's a sad thing to see because if they can sync that up, it's one of the oldest moves in the book, but also one of the most reliable. It's taught so widely for a reason. And so, oh, it looks like he finally synced. There we go.
A nice job there by Yoder. You know, this is kind of sad, this commentating, because I just realized that the scoreboard we're watching has the points on it, and I've been trying to keep track of points here on this score sheet, and I have been completely off. It is 65 to 12 now as they finish up their matchup. DeKalb taking the win. And it has the names of who's competing. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this.
It's a really good match on the Cal stand for DeKalb there, 65 to 12, and I think the two 12s, yeah, heavyweight lost, and then was it another forfeit for John
Maybe.
Glenn
I
there?
can't think of it at the moment.
That was a very good match from DeKalb there.
Yeah, great job by them. And heading out of this, we're way ahead schedule right now. It is 10:20 at least for Mat 2, and the next round is set to start at 12 p.m. So we'll probably see sooner action than that once Carroll and Bishop Lures are done and out of the mat. But that will wrap up this section of part 2, the DeKalb Wrestling Invite for 2025. Next up, we will see DeKalb facing Bishop Lures and Lapel versus John Glenn at the 1:30 time, but it'll vary depending on when this Carroll and Bishop Lures matchup ends. So stay tuned for